Welcome to Giant Ability TV.
We are always preparing to leave what we are not leaving. The fear of loss sharpened the greed of gain in our society, and that is where our problems originated from. Nigeria has been stratified from the time of the colonial era. They came and met people with different cultures, religions, tribes, and in different geographical locations. As a matter of fact, they met with different and many nations living with different aspirations and goals that were pursued in different ways. This situation was to them an advantage, which they took by bringing us together regardless of our differences. Their goal was to introduce what fits in for description as divide and rule, hence the indirect rule system of government, which they introduced, which worked perfectly in the northern part of the country where the traditions agreed perfectly with the system, especially because the northerners had a feudal system where the people were ruled by their emirs who used their subordinate or surrogate to direct the affairs of their subjects. This system worked also partially in the southwest, where the kings, like the emirs in the north, were at the helm of affairs as rulers. The situation was different in the southeastern part of the country, and that led to the Aba riot of 1932. Recall that the indirect rule system of the British who colonized Nigeria was different from the policy of assimilation introduced by France in governing their colonies. The policy of assimilation was a system that aimed at making their colonies and the people in them look just like their colonial masters. Hence the word assimilation, which was derived from the word assimila. Nigeria, even after independence in 1960, has remained a problem of itself, unlike their French colonies where the people were taught French as a language and adopted some of the cultures of their colonial masters. Nigeria was packed together as sardine, with their differences in languages, cultures, religions, and educational attainment under one name called Nigeria. Nigeria, in reality, is just the amalgamation of so many nations brought under one umbrella, but not one thinking cap. What could have been a major help or solution to our diversities would have been a constitution that reckoned with these diversities and do well to address them, but unfortunately, because of the undue advantages that the northerners got from our colonial masters for their cooperation and docility, the constitution was tailored to favor them because of their setbacks in Western education, as made possible by their strict adherence to their religious beliefs, which abhorred Western civilization. In addition to the inherited problems from the colonial masters are the failures on the part of the northern elects, even after the independence of Nigeria, to encourage Western education among their people. The same problem of high rate of illiteracy among the northerners, which was an advantage to colonial masters, is the same that has placed the northerners at a disadvantaged position today in terms of Western education and civilization, and these by extension has become a problem to the country that is called Nigeria. There is an analogy that best describes the situation in Nigeria today in relations to development. It is believed that if you have a crab in a bucket covering the bucket is advisable, for if not, the crab will after some time find its way out of the bucket. But if you have more than one crabs in that same bucket, there is no point covering the bucket, for it will be difficult for one of the crabs to get out of the bucket without another pulling it back when it is trying to do so. If progress and development is slow in Nigeria and you don't know why, it is advisable that you look to the north and northerners. This accounts for their obsession with power, and in spite of the fact that Nigeria has had more of the northerners rule our dear country Nigeria, both as military heads of state and civilian presidents, there is nothing progressive to show for it in the north. As the wise saying goes, if someone is promising to put on you a new cloth, you need to first of all look at the one he himself is wearing. It is believed that people get the history they deserve. These apply to Nigeria, but it is unfortunate because the history we got is avoidable except for the burden that Nigeria is carrying, which is the problem of the northerners. When the All Progressives Congress party governors from the north agreed that power should go to the south on the exit of President Muhammadu Buhari, who is a northern Fulani Muslim, Southerners who are ignorant and uneducated in the history and politics of Nigeria did not realize that their action was not in good faith. We are there to be honest and having goodwill towards Nigeria. The best candidate of choice by then should have been the Vice President to President Muhammadu Buhari, Professor Yemi Osibajo. With their support for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is a Muslim and with a Muslim vice president, and with all the irregularities that characterize the election that made him the president-elect, what becomes crystal clear to Nigerians who are perceptive is that the Northerners are just users, wasters, and retrogressive. They are not progressive and therefore cannot make Nigeria to progress.
I have also served for 7 years, by the grace of God, as Vice President. While at the side of President Muhammadu Buhari, I have seen firsthand the nuances and complexities of the challenges that confront us as a nation. One thing is certain: our circumstances will not afford the next leader of our country any time to learn on the job. In discharging my duties as Vice President for the past 7 years, I have been prepared in the most profound ways for the task that lies ahead, and I will be ready from day one.
This is a warning to all Nigerians who are tired of all the sufferings that the All Progressive Congress Party (APC) and their leaders in persons of President Muhammadu Buhari and Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the national leader, have brought upon Nigerians by ways of unprecedented carnage from terrorism and banditry, hunger, unemployment, inflation, increase in the number of out-of-school children, and poverty as reflected through the multi-dimensional poverty index that the duo of Mr. Peter Gregory Obi and Dr. Dati Yusuf Baba Ahmed are God-sent, and missing them at this critical time is like taking Nigeria back to the pre-colonial era. We should stop the lies and deceit from the wicked and heartless politicians who have no interest of the country at heart. They are everywhere in the country, from north to west and from west to east. All we need is to be able to identify them and refuse to be taken for a ride any longer. Nigeria is a great country by reason of the abundant mineral and human resources, but has been reduced to a giant with the feet of clay. Poverty in Nigeria, as we know it, has no regard or respect for ethnicity or religion. Abraham Lincoln says that he cares not for any man's religion, whose cats and dogs are not the better for it. It is instructive also to note that most of the killings that we have experienced in Nigeria since 2015 has had more of the Northerners as victims. Why should we allow this to continue? Enough of getting ready, for it is time to leave ready. The ship of Nigeria is about to set out from the port, and we have all the opportunities as given by God to do what is right for the ship to have a smooth sail. The names of President Muhammadu Buhari, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, and Justice Kayode Ariwola will not be forgotten for good or for bad, depending on the choice they make at this critical time in Nigeria's history. Recommend yourself to the divine providence and be sure never to depart from the uprightness of intention. I mean, have still a firm purpose and design to be thoroughly informed in all the business that shall come before thee, and act upon just grounds, for heavens always favor good desires. Miguel de Cervantes. Taking a deeper look into the words of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and making a sense out of it, he says, 4 years course in a university will be a 4 years course. Without a good and visionary leadership, the journey of 4 years can lead to the sufferings of 40 years. We more often than not take things for granted and waste our resilience on problems that are avoidable. It does not matter the abundance of mineral resources that a country is blessed with. Without adequate human capital resources, the country will still be ranked as Nigeria is ranked as the poverty capital of the world. The warning for all Nigerians at this time is to avoid leaders who ascend the positions of power through faulty electoral processes. The beauty of every building is in its finishing, but if the foundation is faulty, the building will definitely not stand the test of time. The Nigerian judiciary is called upon to do everything possible in its power to scrutinize the electoral process that led to the declaration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president-elect. And if there are irregularities, no matter how small, the outcome of such fraudulent electoral process should be discarded in the interest of the country and to preserve the reputation of the Nigerian judiciary, without which there can be no democracy. Banditry and kidnapping, if you observe, are now back on the horizon, and these can only thrive on the foundation of illegality and impunity. On a final note, do not forget that Boko Haram has its foundation on religion, and the Muslim ticket of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, without gainsaying the fact, will only serve to fuel these atrocious activities.
As the 78th anger, there will be a new face at this podium speaking for Nigeria. Ours is a vast country, strengthened by its diversity and its common values of hard work, enduring faith, and a sense of community. We have invested heavily to strengthen our framework for free and fair elections. I thank our partners for all the support that they have provided our elections. As President, I have set the goal that one of the enduring legacies I would like to leave is to entrench a process of free, fair, and transparent, credible election through which Nigerians elect their choice.
It is not late for us as Nigerians to bring all hands on deck to prevent the impending evils, for a stitch in time saves 9. We should not allow our will to roar when our power only whispers, for wherever there is a will, there is always a way. May God bless our country, Nigeria.
Thank you for watching.